Welcome, guys. Good morning. Today we're going to start seeing, how to apply classes and how to use these classes on the list and how to make some actions with them. So let's start. Let's start making a file that is going to be called object.py. Okay. And on object.py, we're going to start making a class that is going to be called square. Okay. And here we're going to make a constructor. Okay. And the constructor starts with def. Okay. So we're going to say here def init. Okay. Self. Okay. And here we're going to say that it's going to receive a wide and a height. Okay. Now let's start adding the attributes. And for adding the attributes, we're going to use self. So we're going to say here self wide is going to be equal wide. Self height is going to be equal height. Now that we have our attributes, let's start making some accessors. And for that, we're going to use a getter and a setter for each one of them. So let's start. For that, we're going to make this, set wide. The same, we're going to use self. And we are going to add here, self that wide is going to be equal wide. And here we're going to say self a new function that is going to be get wide. Okay. And we don't need to add here more add parameters or add to the function. In this case, we only need self. Okay. And we need self to be referenced, that this is part of the class. We say here self, and we're going to return the wide. Okay, now we make the same for the height. Okay, so we're going to say here set height. Okay, the same, we're going to declare self. And we're going to compare here. Okay, there. We have now our square object. Now let's check this one. I think it needs, here they have already one option that is, okay, let's check here. In it there. Okay. Now let's call this. And for that, we're going to say from object, we're going to import, okay, square. Okay, that way we're going to be able to make here in square. So that means here I can say d1 square, and here is asking for me for the width and the height. That means I can say here 340, 400. Okay, there. So let's start using lists with this. Okay, so for that, we're going to need, okay, to make here a list. So we're going to say here squares, okay, and we're going to add here the brackets. Now we're going to make here a loop, okay. So for that, we can say here, okay, def. We are going to be only entering integer values, so we're going to say enter int, okay. So here, let's say the message, okay, that we need for this. D is going to be equal to -1. Okay. And here we are going to use B that is going to be equal true. Now we need to add a while loop. Okay. On this while loop, we are going to be running until B it's true. The next step that we're going to make, okay, is to add a try. Okay, we don't want the program to break. Okay, and so for avoiding that, we are going to use and try. The try is going to try to catch the error, okay, or try to make the action that we're going to add right now. And if something comes wrong, okay, it's going to throw that to the exception. Okay, it's going to throw that to the exception, and it's going to avoid to the entire program to break by itself. Okay, so let's start here. Okay, let's start here, and let's start saying, okay, D is going to be equal int input. Okay, and we add here the message. Okay, now for purposes of have a better looking, we can add here a breakline. Okay, there. Now we're going to say here except. Okay, and now that we have the exception, we can print here. Okay, please enter a number. Okay, now we have something that we need to add here. We need to say here B is going to be equal to false. Okay, Now that we have all this, we can say here return. Okay, and what we're going to return is going to be D. Okay, now we have our entry function. So we can start here making a loop. Okay, so we are going to say here amount. And we are going to call enter end. And we're going to say, please enter the amount of squares. Okay, so we're going to start asking for the amount of squares that we're going to need. Okay, now we're going to make a loop. And the loop is going to be on a range of the amount. Okay, that way. And over here, what we're going to say, okay, we're going to add here two variables, okay? So here, enter int, enter the wide, okay? And we're going to say enter the height. So we're going to need a variable for handling for the height. That way. Now we're going to make a square, okay? So that means we need to make here an object. So I'm going to say here, square is going to be equal to a square. Okay, and this square is going to be wide and height. Okay, this way. The final step that we need to add, okay, is the squares. We need to add it to our list. The best way to do it, okay, is to append these ones. Okay, now that we do it, once it's finished, we want, for example, to search. Okay, we want to search if a square exists. So for that, we're going to enter, okay, the y. Let's get out from here. Same this one. Let's get out from here. Okay. And now we enter two values. Okay. These two values are going to make a new square. Okay. But what we need is to compare. Okay. Is to compare if this object, okay, if the squares, so that means we're going to say here square in squares. Okay, so we're going to loop that. And now we're going to compare if the y it's equal, okay, to square dot get y and the height. Okay, remember we want to be the same. Okay, that means the height and the y needs to be the same. We're going to say if the height it's equal to the square get height. Okay, that way. You see, we start using our getters. If that happens, okay, we're going to print. Okay, we're going to print this. we found your value. Okay, so let's try it right now. Okay, let's try what we have right now. It's telling to me enter the amount of a square. So I'm going to say we want 3. And this one is going to be 10 by 10, 25 by 25, 35 by 35. Okay, now I am searching. Okay, so that means if I enter 15 by 15, you see it's not going to do nothing. Okay, because it was not able to find that value. Okay, so here we need to add some things. Okay, like we're going to add here a print and we're going to say of a square you want to search. Okay, that way. Now, what happened if we don't found? We need to add here something. So we're going to say valid. Okay, and we're going to say this is going to be equal false. Okay, when we get here, if this comes true, that means valid. It's going to turn true. Okay, and once the loop finish, we're going to compare if not valid. Okay, we are going to say here print the square that you entered is not on the list. Okay, that way. That way. So here, if we run this, it's going to ask for us for entering the amount. That means it's going to run 3 times asking for us for the width and for the height. Now, this one we can make it a little bit more friendly, okay, by adding, for example, a count. Okay, so we're going to say here count. The count is going to start on 0. And we are going to here add a print. Okay, and we're going to say here enter the value of the square number. Okay, and here we add a plus and we're going to pass the count here. Okay, now if you see right now count, it's only equal 0. So we are going to say here count is going to be plus 1. Okay, that means we're saying that count, this is like we're saying count is equal count plus 1. So he's going to start adding, okay? During the loop, he's going to be adding one value to count that way. So let's run it now and see how it looks. So if I add here 3, we start seeing here. Enter the value of the square number 1. Good. Okay, so we can say here 45, 45. Enter the value of the square number 2. 25, 25. Now, what happened if I enter? If you see, it's asking him again, please enter a number. Okay, so that means it's not breaking. Okay, it's not breaking the program. Okay, it that's why we add this try and except here. Okay, the try, like the name says, is going to try to make this. Okay, and if for some reason something gets wrong over here, he's going to get it over here, the except. Okay, he's going to make the action that the step has. Okay, and that way you are avoiding to get an error on your program. Okay, now of being break. So let's add here 25 and 45. Okay, so that means here if I add 25 and 25, we found your value. That's great. That's great. Okay, now we want to make something else here. We want to avoid, okay, that we enter a square that already exists. Okay, how we do that? Okay, the best approach, okay, that is going to be is to make here a function, okay? So we can be able to search that. So now the function, what is going to receive is going to be a square, okay? So here, and a collection. In this case, a collection is going to be a list, okay? So here we can say def search. And the search, what it's going to do, going to search for a square and is going to receive a collection of squares. We're going to say here squares. Okay, so we're going to loop this. Okay, we're going to loop this and we're going to say SQ in squares. Okay, that way. Now here we are going to tell if the square that white it's equal to SQ that white and the square dot height it's equal okay to SQ dot height. Now with this, okay, we are comparing here. We are comparing here, okay. Okay, it's telling to me that this is an invalid syntax. So let's remove this and this other one here. There. Okay. Here right now is throwing an error because I have nothing, okay, right on the if. Okay. So here what we're comparing, okay, we're telling to Python, okay, to search. We already have enter in square. Okay, we already create the square, but we want to verify if that square exists. If that square exists, that means we want here to return true. If not, okay, if it's not there, we are going to return false. Simple. Okay, I think I mess here a little bit with the indentation. Let's see. I think there on the same line. Okay, so that's why we're verifying here on each item that we have here on our list. We are looping. Okay, we're going to pass to each one of them, and we're going to verify they are the same. Yes. Okay, don't add it there. Okay, we want unique squares over there. We don't want a square that is already inside the collection, okay, inside our list. So for that, we need to verify that before this. So we're going to say if search, okay, if the search that is asking for me for a square and the squares, okay, that we already have it already on top, okay, if this is true, okay, it's going to, we don't want it here. So what we're going to say, if this is not true, okay, we want to append. We want to append. If not, we want to okay, we want to continue. Okay, so we can say here, okay, running this. And we can say here 20, 52 and 52. Okay, now if I enter 52 and 52, it's not going to enter that value, okay? It's not going to enter this value, so that means we have one less on the list. Okay, there, we found your value. But how we know that we only have those values there? Okay. Here we need to make something, okay? First step, okay, we need to make some changes here. The first one is that we need here to say continue. Okay. So that means he's going to repeat this block here. Now, here's the problem. What is going to happen with this little guy that we have here? He's going to start adding and adding and adding. We don't want that. So for that, we're going to start on the first position here, and we're going to get it over here to be adding that count. Okay, so let's try it right now. Okay, I'm going to say 3, 25, and 25. Okay, so let me add right now 25 and 25. Here you can see it's already on the position. Okay, he didn't move from the position 2. Okay, now he's asking for me to search because the 4 is not going to stop here. Okay, he's going to pass away that bar. Well, guys, I think it's already time. I hope you have enjoyed the class of today. Have a nice day and please take care. Bye.